Okay, welcome to Christ-Centered Gamers game stream of the Atari 50th Anniversary Celebrations first DLC, The Wider World of Atari. So, about a year ago, I think, maybe, I reviewed the Atari 50th Anniversary Celebration. It's a wonderful collection of games, and it's more than just a collection of games. It's really a documentary about the history of Atari and their 50th anniversary. It's wonderful. For anybody who's an Atari fan, I strongly encourage you to pick up um, this collection. But anyway, if you want to learn about the history of video games through the lens of Atari, it's a great way to do that. However, this has been very successful for them, and for good reason. I think it's wonderful. So it came with a little over around 100 games, which is great. And, it has the arcade origins, the birth of the console, the highs and lows, the dawn of PCs, and 1990s and beyond. This DLC adds this, the wider world of Atari. I've not actually explored it 100%. I don't know why it says that. But yeah, so we are going to go through this whole thing together. Maybe we'll get through all of it, maybe we won't. But yeah, so let's check out the DLC for the wider world of Atari. The original influencer. From arcade innovation to console domination, the Atari defined interactive entertainment for millions of people. Over the years, the company's legacy has been extended, preserved by programmers, players, and ardent fans who identify as both. It was my first video game console. Actually, my very first video game was on the Atari 2600. Born in the arcade. Not only did Atari design and manufacture games in the 1970s, the company also maintained machines at locations around Northern California as an extra source of income. Steady stream of new coin-operated titles became essential to the company's success. The birth of Breakout. One of Atari's biggest successes was an even bigger surprise to Atari's lead engineer. Alicorn explains how Breakout came to be. Well, let's check out this video.
Breakout was really early. It's a ball and paddle game, right? And it was really an idea for Nolan to do that. I mean, he had a lot of ideas. And he was the guy that went around me and corralled Jobs into designing this, not knowing that Jobs wasn't an engineer and couldn't do that. And Jobs wasn't about to tell him, but his buddy was, who was just the sweetest, brightest savant. And I come in and Steve Jobs says, "Hey, look at this." And here is a finished game, Breakout, that was not under development. Understand? Typical games took a few months to develop. It was like, got dropped in from outer space, finished game, working prototype. What? And Jobs says, yeah, he claimed he designed it. And no, he didn't. Bullshit. And I found out later that because Woz was coming in at night, he's working at HP, and he liked HP.
Before the beginning of Apple. Isn't that interesting?
A lot more fun. So I go in and there's a finished game. I'm going, what the this is crazy. You heard the story. I'll tell you my version because I've seen some different numbers. But as I understand it, Nolan said he would give Jobs a bonus of $1,000 a chip for every chip less than 50 that he was able to do this with. Now, knowing that this had more objects and stuff than Pong did, and Pong was 76 chips, it's a pretty safe bet that Nolan's not going to have to pay a penny for this, right? Again, Woz is one of the most gifted, brilliant men engineering. Woz designs it with like 24 chips. Now, Nolan didn't say you had to be able to buy the chips. So some of the chips were chips out of Hewlett-Packard that you couldn't get. But there was the prototype of the working game. And you look at a schematic and I couldn't understand, how would this thing work?
Neat. The birth of Breakout. That's cool. All right. Visual storytelling. Arcade games with simple graphics often use the cabinet's marquee and side art to convey a story for the game. The Breakout, the image of a prisoner smashing their way through the logo, suggested an exciting escape narrative that merely seeing a ball bouncing through the bricks could not. Nice. Nice. Destroyer. So do we get to play Breakout, or we've already played it in the other collection? Maybe we did. Huh. In Mike Albog's naval action game Destroyer, players use a dial to adjust the horizontal depth line, then attempt to drop charges onto the undersea targets. A little bit simpler canyon bomber with no speed or depth control would appear in arcades in the same month. This is interesting. All right, let's give this a play. I don't know what Destroyer is like. I've never played it. So let's check this out. Okay. Okay, so I did get it. Huh. So you just lower the thing and launch bombs, and if it hits close enough, it'll count as a destruction. Interesting. Oh, that was cool. That one wasn't close enough. Nice. Neat. Okay. That's actually a pretty clever game. Oh, hey, Coffee. Thanks for joining. So we're checking out the history of Atari right now. The Wider World of Atari. I never played the Destroyer before, so this is kind of neat. This is actually pretty fun. Sorry to hear that. So we got 34 seconds left of this play. Okay. Destroyer. So I must have earned extended play. That's interesting. This game's actually pretty good. I never thought I'd like this. It looked boring, but it's actually pretty fun. We have nothing to do with the ads, Coffee. Sorry. This is getting pretty tough. Okay. No, this is called Destroyer. More obscure, perhaps, Atari game. 1977. That was pretty fun. Kind of the inverse of Missile Command. Interesting. Colorful promotion. Both the English and German promotional flyers for Destroyer feature bright colors and contrast the actual game's monochrome graphics. Yeah, sure. Alright, Superbug. Before creating Fire Truck, Wendy Allen made the single-player driving game Superbug. While graphics are shown on a monochrome monitor, translucent film overlays made the car appear yellow and the score appear green. So this is the marquee for Superbug. Evelyn said, okay. And this is English flyer for Superbug and Super Thrills, while German pitches the game to be daring men and fast ladies. Okay. Oh, that's funny. Okay. Huh. Well, let's check out Superbug. Superbug, in which players avoid hazards while driving a car on a fast and a scrolling road, in Wendy Allen's first game. All right. Oh, interesting. So you got the different gears. Okay. So ABXY is the different gears, and then okay. Oh, it goes a lot faster when you go to the faster gears. Whoa! 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 It's actually pretty tough when you start going fast. Ah! This animation is remarkably smooth. Whoa! Oh, that's a tricky business right there. Whoa! This game is brutal. I don't know how you can go past 3 and still have enough reaction time left to. Oh, that's it. That's Punch Bug. Okay. Or Super Bug. You got me saying Punch Bug. Super Bug is tough. Okay. Skydiver. Skydiver players attempted to land safely. Yeah, right. To land safely in the drop zone for big points. For extra novelty, the cabinet's dressing was shaped like the handles of a parachute ripcord. Home version will appear months later. Let's see what the flyer and postcard look like. Received a boosted awareness from the flyer as well as postcard after the unusual 2-in-1 cabinet. Interesting. Huh. Oh, so they made a start reading the home version of Skydiver. We're even learning about Rowan's coin-op version. Oh. So Skydiver was an arcade game, and there was a 2600 version of the same, made by different developers. That's funny. Huh. Well, we'll check out the arcade version first, and then we'll check out the 2600 version. 3 misses for flare. Watch flag for direction. Okay, push start. I think I did. No? Okay, I did something wrong. Okay, Okay, apparently I'm not good at controls. I'm gonna try this one more time and see if I have the controls figured out. Okay, I'm off the screen there. Okay, it's the triggers, I think. I didn't realize I played 2 players, though. That's the only thing that's weird. Okay, I don't quite understand. Alright, controls. Release from trainees, open parachutes down R, or down stick. Oh, that's weird. That explains it, because I was not expecting that. There we go. There we go. My first guy survived. I still got the controls confused. Okay, well, I'm done with this one. Adios, amigo. All right, let's check out the 2600 version. Let's see what this is all about. Inspired by the arcade game Skydiver. Pressing a button causes the diver to leap out of the plane overhead. Pulling down the joystick to place the chute. Okay. 2600 games are, you know, they're cool. Okay. Okay, apparently I'm really bad at aiming it. Okay. I see what I'm doing now. Okay, I missed that entirely. There we go. I got one. Okay, that's weird that I can only go in the direction of the wind. Huh. Okay, that makes sense, I guess. Aw. Went the wrong way. Huh. Okay. I should be done. Yeah, that's it. Okay, cute. You know, I grew up on 2600. I get how they work. Avalanche. Avalanche players catch rocks that fall from the top of the screen. As speed increases, rocks become smaller and intentionally irritating. White noise becomes progressively louder to break the player's concentration. Very campus is a direct person activation game boom. Huh. Avalanche's promotional finance. The players can play Avalanche indefinitely as long as they don't miss. Huh. Cute. It launched as a mail-order initiative entire program exchange created any publishing avenue for amateur programmers. Sometimes pros do well there. Oh. Huh. So that's for Atari 400 or 800. Oh, neat. Neat. Okay. So we'll try out the arcade version, and then we'll try out the Atari 400 version. You're not amongst famous player instructions. They have control player. Catch falling rocks for high score. Huh. Okay. This game looks weird. Okay. This is simple. I'm guessing each slot can only catch so many before it breaks, maybe? Or is it always top down? Well, of course, after the 2600 was simple and didn't have great graphics. I think that's well understood. But for what it was at the time that it was released, it was a success. I mean, you can't argue with it. Cute. All right. So let's check out this version for the Atari 800. So it's pretty similar, it looks like. Oh yeah, I agree. The 800 is quite a bit better than the 26 by a lot. Atari football. While Atari suggests using joystick controls to keep costs down on the football, mechanical engineer created a roller controller that was affordable enough with piece management. Oh, neat. Atari football represents players using simple X and O characters. Notable in Komodo, Jerry Lichak found that trackballs for air traffic control centers cost $350-$800. And he said, well, it's too expensive, forget it. You know, with a trackball that we know and love. It's more expensive than the joystick, but there's still some griping. But griping was, no, game's not worth doing if you don't do it with a trackball. Ah, neat. Promotional flyer. Let's check this out. This first attraction to simulate the actual play of American football. 2 players. Huh. Okay. We'll have to get this a shot. 4-player. Oh, after success of 2-player cabinet, they released a 4-player football. Huh, interesting. All right, let's check this out. Huh. I wonder if this works with mice or not. Though I'm sure controller is fine, but your offense, select play. I have no idea what I'm doing. Okay, doubt what? Okay, this is confusing. Trackball direction up is left and right stick. Okay, roll trackball A, stop trackball B. Oh boy, that's confusing. Select play pass X. Start two-player game and options, stick settings. Oh, this is ugly. Yeah. I have no idea what this is all about. Okay, cool. I don't think I'm gonna play this anymore. I barely know how to follow football on its own. All right. Vector Magic. Atari created just 13 games with vector graphics, 6 of them by 1980. Several have become iconic examples of Atari's corn-op era. Here, developers old and new discussed how vector graphics required a different perspective on both design and technology. Okay, this could be neat. Let's check this out, guys. Vector graphics are cool, even if they're completely impractical.
Vectors are amazing things, right? Like the fact that vector graphics were phenomenal, and they continue to hold up really well. So I think when we look at Tempest or Tempest 2000 or Tempest 4000, I feel like those games of all of the games, those old games have aged the best. Not Tempest specifically, but the vector-based games, and Tempest just being a really incredibly strong example of a vector-based game because it still looks beautiful.
Aesthetically, I just think Tempest is a timeless game. Asteroids is a timeless game.
The old CRTs, the cathode ray tubes, had a beam that would go across the screen very fast, and it would draw the line. So you drew that always. So that was always being drawn, and you could turn on and off the beam, or beams if it's color, red, green, blue in color, and create an image. Vector doesn't do that. Vector, you actually draw the lines. So there is no raster going on. The beam isn't doing this down the screen. If you want to draw a red line that goes like that, you put the beam there and you push it across the screen to there. So you are actually doing an etch sketch is the best way to think about it.
One of the interesting limitations and why it's so good for space games on Vector is if you don't draw something, the screen is black. It's not kind of sort of gray, it's black.
If the hardware stops in a coin-op game, the last picture would stay there. If the hardware stops in a vector generator, it goes black because you have to draw it. You're drawing the beams. There's no raster. There's nothing automatic in that. And I like that as well. That meant I could draw something and I didn't have to worry about it again. If I wanted to move it, I just redrew it over here. Before, you have to erase it from that space and rewrite it over here. Yeah, didn't like that.
Yeah, vector graphics were awesome.
The limitation isn't how many dots you have, it's how many inches of light you have.
Huh.
And a lot of people really love that white on black look.
You could get these really fine details for the time. I mean, if you go back and look at it now, it's not as high res as you think it is, but the ships and the shots and the way it looked, and you could adjust the brightness on an individual item, that bright shot in Asteroids, for example, and that goes across the screen. There's nothing like that. It's just an amazing look, and I wanted to work on it.
We started with black and white. I worked a little bit on Battlezone when I worked on the simulator, which was after Battlezone came out, but if you remember Battlezone, it was green. Those weren't green lines, that was a green template that was over the top that made it green.
I got color when I did Space Duel, which I took over from another programmer who, for some reason, just kind of lost it and left the company and kind of evolved it from what he had started. I wanted more time to work on it, and another programmer was working on Asteroids Deluxe, and I was doing color asteroids. That's what I was doing with it. That's what Space Duel originally started as color asteroids. And they said, oh, we're not going to do that because Asteroids Deluxe just came out. So they gave the hardware and some of the code I did to Dave Toyer, and he did Tempest. And then some of that came back, and I did Space Duel. So you'll see things that are similar that cross through it.
Hmm.
Vector Sector was born out of the idea of what if all of Atari's vector games existed in the same universe? And we went from there. It was great to talk to Owen Rubin, who created Major Havoc, Space Duel. And when he played Vector Sector, he got through the asteroids phase and he got to Lunar Lander and he was like, oh, you should do this with linked ships. And he didn't know that we'd do that. So that was like a thrill. Also, when we got to the end of the game, we played a linked dual multiplayer game. We got to the end and he was having a conversation with me. He glanced up and he saw that we had his initials in the high scores as a default high score. And he just threw out a, oh, thanks. Yeah, thought that was cool.
Yeah, vector games are really cool. Golden Asteroids. This Golden Asteroids cabinet marked the milestone of 50,000 asteroid machines. Wow. This was before the asteroid, the special machine was playable in Atari's office library for several years and currently resides in the offices of Mortal Kombat developer NetherRealm Studios. Okay, that's cool. A Red Baron. The minimalistic lines of the vector monitors were well suited to games with first-person perspective. Released shortly after Battle Zone, Red Baron players played World War I biplane. All right, let's check this out. Asteroids is easy to control. I totally get asteroids. That's no issue. But this looks wild. Let's check this out. All right, let's check the controls before I get too far. All right, dive, climb, left, right, fire weapon. This is easy. All right, good. Okay, this is neat. Whoa. This is pretty simple. I can handle this. Ah! Take out that silly little Zeppelins, yep. We got a tank who thinks he's gonna survive. Okay, maybe he will. Ah! This is a kind of a neat little vector game. The bullets frames per second's a little low, but it's neat. Yeah, this is cute. The controls are a little goofy. I should probably use the mouse, but this is cute. This is cute. Whoop, did I die? So I guess... Was it? Was this really popular? I didn't know that. Yeah, apparently I did die, yeah. This is 1980, I think, right? Oh boy. Oh, I died. This must be my last life, I think. Getting shot at. I don't know, Zeppelins could shoot. Oh! Cool. Okay, I'm trying to get my letter to change here. Alright. Excuse me. Okay, J. A little goofy on the letter order thing. Come on now. I don't know why I can't go forward in the alphabet. Okay, I have to go backwards. It's better not pass my initial. Okay. Cool. All right. Well, that's the end of that one. Okay. Combat fire. No, it's skill sense technology. If the average length you can exceed the operator's target play time, the game would automatically increase difficulty. That's hilarious. If the game got, if the people, well, that's my initials. If people took too long to play, the game would automatically get harder. That's hilarious. It's called skill sense. That's hilarious. Okay, divisions, coin op and consumer. Atari was built on the phenomenal arcade games, but the Atari VCS home console actually led to the company to even greater heights. Atari veterans on both sides of the success story explain how the coin op and the consumer division ultimately work together. All right, let's check this out.
Well, at the beginning, it was sort of forbidden to consort with the enemy.
First off, we had a vibrant coin-op business that was making money and keeping us in business, and consumer wasn't making anything. I didn't want to screw with that. I did not want to damage that.
There was a door that said, "Don't even think about entering here," and I was like,
I don't know if I can turn up the volume. Well,
and Al turned around and goes, "What are you doing in here? Who the hell are you?"
all right, I turned it up. We'll see if that's better.
I said, "Well, I work for this company. What are you guys doing?"
Oh, and found out how to open the door between the two places. And what's this? And I'm going, what the hell are you doing? Anyway, we became friends.
I was one of the few people in coin-op that spent a lot of time in the consumer group, sort of going back and forth.
I believe that Al Alcorn was sincerely concerned that coin-op would be a distraction on his group, which we're doing a very ambitious project on a very tight schedule.
Other companies like Bally all of a sudden took some of their engineers in coin-op, and first off, I didn't think these were the right kind of engineers to do consumer. It's a different cost accounting, a different culture. Number two, I didn't want to screw with coin-op success.
The arcade games were pretty much in one area, and the consumer people were in another area.
Engineering was upstairs for consumer products. We were downstairs, and I only knew a few of them, you know, and it was because we water skied together.
There really was two separate companies, it felt like, at a time. They had very different development environment. There was no synergy between the two, really, other than that we shared games.
I have been known to joke that the point of coin-op games is primarily selling players their own adrenaline. So you want an intense, fast-pitch game, and you'll blame yourself if it's over in 3 minutes, not the game. A person who pays 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks for a cartridge wants to milk that thing. So the games themselves are different.
Every machine is state of the art. It's all new, fresh, challenging stuff.
Well, there, hey, Bam Bam, thanks for joining.
And it's real design.
Coin-op gets to use more expensive hardware. They get to use tons and tons of hardware, and they get to refresh their hardware all the time, right? So what's happening is the Atari 2600 chip, the 6502, is a chip you could make in 76. Now, Moore's Law is cruising along, doubling computer power every 3 years, but we're using a chip from 76.
Oh, he's too quiet, even for me. There we go.
Just had to live with the old technology, but fortunately with programmers figuring out new ways to use it.
But for me, there was no rivalry. It was, they made games and they were interesting ideas, and a lot of them we were going to have to try and copy.
What happened, though, was as the VCS really started to make distribution and really started to get out there, and some games really started to catch on, it became apparent that the profit potential from the home games was actually much higher than it was in coin-op. So I'll tell you another pecking order sign that goes on, which raises a lot of interesting things, both financially and emotionally, is the idea of royalties. Because one of the big difference between VCS and coin-op was coin-op people got royalties. They got some kind of bonus participation in the success of their games, which VCS people didn't. That got to be a sore point, not between coin-op and engineering, but between VCS and management. And it's like, why aren't we doing that?
Atari had a bonus plan that was based on how your game sold. And then the consumer group wanted their own bonus plan based on how their game sold. So they would take a game designed by the coin-op that was in the arcade, they'd make a 2600 cartridge out of it, it would do really well, they get big bonuses, and we weren't included at all. So there was this kind of like, wait a minute, why are they taking our ideas and we're not included? That was resolved later.
Everybody, identifies as the hero of their own narrative. When you start checking the narratives against each other, that's when you find some interesting differences. And it wasn't, I never felt that coin-op people lorded over us, and I don't think we felt like second-class citizens, but it was well known that coin-op was working on hotter technology, doing cooler stuff, and we were trying to keep up with a technology that was falling farther and farther and farther behind. That's just the reality of it.
They both needed each other, and that's the way most of us looked at it. It was a collaboration, not a competition.
Neat. Sears has everything. Oh, I used to work for Sears. They are no longer basically exist. That hurts. Anyway, Sears, a dominant force in retail sales in the mid-1970s. The annual Sears Wish Book catalog became the de facto gift guide for millions of American kids. As Atari premier retail partner, Sears hold Home Pong and the VCS under their own Telegames brand, along with 3 exclusive VCS games. Oh, neat. Okay. Huh. Telegames Steeplechase. Jim Hoyter's home version of Lyle Rain's 1975 arcade game. 2 sets of paddle controllers and 4-player gaming on the VCS, a rarity in 1980. Oh, wow. 4 players. Huh. Players control the speed of their horse with a paddle control, leaping over obstacles as they appear. Alright, let's check this out. This is probably going to be obtuse as can be. Oh, weird. I don't know if I ever played this one. Controls, jump, left, right. Ready, select, okay. Huh. Huh. Okay. Oh, that's crazy. Color black and white. Okay. How do I start? There it is. I think I'm on the bottom. Well, this is cute. It's all about timing them gems. Apparently I'm not a bad horse. So 3. Did I win? I think I did. That's gotta love these Atari games. I think that's the end of that. Yep, that's it. Cute. Those 2600 games sure were simple. Alternate art. This demonstration was ultimately not using the game's boxer manual. Oh, okay. Stellar Trek, a rare text-only game for the VCS. This is a strategy game that was a popular mainframe computer game. Oh, wow. Quite a popular sci-fi TV show. Players explore quadrants in space, managing such resources. Bam Bam? Is this that game you were talking about earlier today? Is this the one? Starfleet to Starship Commander. Your mission is to destroy 11 alien warships in 17 stardates. Command. Galaxy map, laser scan, phasers, photons, senior scan, status, warp. Oh, this is wild. Okay. Well, yeah, they're using CRT. What do you call it? So this is the game. That's hilarious. All right. Huh. You know, I may have played this once, but thought it was dumb. I'll be honest with you. Um, yeah, RF modulators was very common back then. Um, very interesting. Well, I this game is awkward. Okay, cool. I don't really understand what's happening. Let's got the full instruction manual here. History of the interstellar conflict. Huh. Well, considering it's all numbers, you can definitely say that it's probably a bit more of a thinking person's game than later than many other titles. Kind of neat, but I'm a simple guy. I like to see things go boom. So I'm probably going to call it for this one, but kind of interesting. Submarine Commander. I feel like I played this before, but I'm not sure. Submarine Commander. The periscope view. Submarine Commander must sink enemy ships while managing limited resources. As the last series exclusive to appear, Submarine Commander is the rarest of the three. Interesting. Have I played this? I don't know. Oh, look at that. I got the ship. Got another ship. He's trying to run away. This is actually kind of neat. No, it's not a Frogger clone. You're trying to shoot down ships. Oh, you can look up and down, too. I didn't realize you could do that. This is kind of cute. Yeah, this isn't too bad. I don't know if I've ever played this. I don't think I have. I did have a fairly large selection of Atari games growing up. I don't know where any of them are. But my parents hopefully have them. The only one I know where it is one of the Star Wars games. Somehow made it to my house. Hopefully my parents know where all the Atari games are. Neat. All right. Well, that's kind of cute. Submarine Commander. Yeah, I don't. It doesn't. The gameplay is significantly different. Alternate art. One of the. That is neat artwork. Okay. Okay, this is cool. I've been looking forward to this video. Evelyn Sato and the Art of Atari. Graphic designer Evelyn Sato was among the few Atari employees to work both coin-op and consumer divisions. In this interview, she recalls saying arcade marquees, creating the Atari 2600's retail packaging and inking the iconic Fuji logo itself. I'm looking forward to this.
My name is Evelyn Sato. I was a graphic designer at Atari, both in the coin-operated division and the consumer division. I majored in graphic design while I was in college, and when I finished, I went back to LA and helped in my family's business, which was a restaurant business. And when I returned, a friend of mine was working at Opera in Harrington, and she was moving on to another position. And so she had me interview with George Opperman, and I was able to come on board on his staff as a production artist. During that time, which is when I started with George, it was the early 70s, And Silicon Valley was just barely a term that was barely coming up. Nolan Bushnell had his company Syzygy, a gaming company, and he needed to change the name of the company. George Farraco, one of his colleagues, suggested that he speak to George Opperman. So I remember them coming in, and George he took on the assignment of redesigning the logo for Syzygy. And they gave him the name Atari. And so, I remember George doodling on his desk. Yeah, he was just doing little doodles, and from there, he maybe selected a few of them to show Nolan, and they picked the one that they did, which is the one with the Fuji and the Atari.
It's a good thing, because that's a great logo.
Everything was done by hand. There was no computers. Everything was you had to ink, and you had to spec type and order type, and then paste it all up on a board. So yeah, everything was kind of handcrafted back then. And so yeah, that was my first position, was with George doing production art. And so once they decided on which one they were going to do, I got the assignment of ordering the type and inking the Fuji. So that was my first jobs in working with Atari, was to ink that Fuji. Nolan liked names that started with A's because they were at the front of the alphabet. And because also at the time Pong was our main
Cut it out, coffee.
The main product. Now George says he liked the idea of it sweeping because the Pong blip would sweep, right? So that's George's. There are people who attribute that to George. George Farraco doesn't believe that was true. But so I honestly don't know where it came from, because obviously he didn't tell me. He just said, here, ink this up. So part of it is probably an A, and part of it is the sweep. It's probably all of that could be true. So whatever it was, it's definitely stood the test of time. And he picked the hairy type font for the Atari, and I think that's actually stood the test of time as well. Shortly after that, I left George, so that was like in '71, and I left in '72, and so George probably continued working with Atari at the time. I had moved on to another company, and in 1976, George called me and asked me, told me he was giving up his company, and he was going to go inside at Atari and become their full-time art director. And he needed an assistant, and asked me if I would be interested in doing that. I kind of thought of it as a placeholder, actually. I wasn't sure how long I would do this, and not being that familiar with the company. But anyway, I said, okay, So we were in this little cubby hole. Our two desks were facing each other. And basically we had a drawing board each, and George was doing all the graphics and all the advertising and whatever that was required. George himself was an illustrator, as well as a designer, as well as a marketing guy, as well as a copywriter. So he would write all the copy, and he would write all the promotional materials for Atari. So he was an in-house advertising agency. Because I wasn't an illustrator, so the things that didn't require illustration, he would, I would work on some of those, or I would collaborate with one of the illustrators. I might come up with a concept, and then one of the illustrators would design the graphic for me, like in Superbug or in Golf. Bob Flamani was the artist on those particular pieces, and so, but the concept of how it looked, the general concept might be mine, but then I would basically have the illustrator do it, which is not unusual because a lot of graphic designers are not illustrators. I worked on Superbug, I worked on Fire Truck, which was a two-man game. And see, because those graphics I could deal with, they weren't, it didn't require me to illustrate a person or an animal, so I could do graphic things, but I wasn't able to do illustrations. And I did do football, and or the soccer game that was created from that. And then when Atari got into pinball, I worked on a concept for the Wonder Woman pinball game. And that didn't require me to be such an conceptual illustrator, because I already had reference material to work with in terms of the comic series. And so eventually we grew to a staff of about eight people. And we had a production artist, but George was still doing all the advertising and the brochures and all the marketing materials for any of the games that came up. And so eventually the company grew, and I stayed there for a couple of years, and ultimately decided that I had an opportunity to go. In 1977, Atari was already working on the consumer video game system. And I had heard about it, but didn't know a whole lot about it. I got asked if I would like to join the consumer group. And so I went ahead and did that. And that's where I felt at home, because then I can focus on graphic design more than illustration. That was a great opportunity for me to really focus on branding. They were starting to introduce some other game systems, and so they wanted to figure out how to market it, and we wanted to take a look at what kind of packaging design do we want to go with, because at the time the VCS system was a black background with little vignettes of game players and parents and screen grabs of some of the video games. And so we decided to take a look at what we could do with it. The video computer system was sort of a generic name, and so we decided to maybe focus on blowing up the name Atari. So we made some mock-ups to do that. Basically, on a product shelf, you got 3 seconds to grab somebody's attention. We banded the box with Atari with the number of the game system, and we created some packaging and took it to a store to see how it would stand up next to the competition. And at the time, Odyssey was out, Magnavox, Coleco, there were other game systems out there, and they were similar in design to what we had already created. So we took it to a store and took some photographs, and with the other competition in the background, it was clear that Atari, branding big was the way to go. It's like, hello, why didn't we think of that sooner? But obviously somebody didn't think of it before we did. And then at the same time, I think Star Wars came out, and so we thought, well, gee, the space age was coming about, and so maybe we should look at, maybe color isn't the way to go. So they wanted to see what else we could do to make it look more space agey. So we came up with the silver concept of the packaging, and ultimately that's the way we went. At the time, our cartridge boxes were all real colorful and rainbow. The rainbow stripe seemed to be sophisticated enough and give it some color. And so from that, I thought, it went underneath the silver band on all the boxes, so it seemed to work for that. And I think that was sort of a nod to the fact that, okay, we still have, the rainbow was sort of a nod to all the color boxes. The Fuji's always stayed there, and I think the typefaces always stay there. Although some people have played around with the typeface a little bit, but you can't change it. It's a classic.
Very cool. That's a neat video. I'm glad I got to watch that. Evelyn Sato, then Evelyn Lim, Atari's late 1970. Cute. A team effort. Back then, Evelyn, George, and Bob review. I increased the volume of the game based on your request. So I don't know what you're looking for. I can turn it down just a little bit. This is back to where it was. Okay, so now you should be able to hear my voice just fine, hopefully. If it's too high, I can turn it down too. I have the ability to adjust all that. Okay. Airborne Avenger the Pinball. Oh, that's neat. Cute. That's neat. Okay. I have to pay attention to your DMs. All right. Anyway. Okay. What's this? Box art concepts. A concept Atari explored for its retail design included a grid design, and Evelyn created a concept art for matching cartridge boxes. Ultimately, played a handful of family-friendly late in the console's life. Well, that's neat. Oh, this is an alternate Atari logos that never made it. I can understand why they would do this, but I'm glad that they didn't go with this because the Atari logo is cool. As well as never issued 32 and 3600. Neat. Okay. All right, so I'll bring that back up. Okay, I'll drop down the mic volume a little bit. That should hopefully sound better. All right. There, hopefully that's better. Okay, all right, hopefully that sounds better. Okay. Let's see, Atari packaging. That's I didn't even know there was a carrying case. That's cute. Okay. All right. Let's see, what do we got here? Voice controller boxes. Oh, voice never materialized. Oh, cute. Okay. All right. So then we got this, a bridge from arcade to home. Doing success in both of its arcades and at the home, Atari combined the two by converting its own arcade hits for the VCS. What's more, listed coin-op competitors like Space Invaders, Defender, and Berserk as exclusive offerings for its home machines, helping Atari maintain market leadership for years. Yeah, Space Invaders is the first game I ever played, so that will always hold a special place in my heart. Berserk. As pinball's popularity waned, things like Bally, Gottlieb, and Stern expanded their scope to offer video game arcades as well. Stern Electronics Berserk, which trapped players in endless mazes of killer robots, became the company's biggest video hit. So, oh, and then this is a promotional flyer for Berserk. Okay. So I played Berserk what is it called? I reviewed the more recent Berserk game. Berserk. I can't spell. Berserk Recharged. That's it. I reviewed Berserk Recharged and enjoyed it. It was pretty fun. So I'm curious about this original. I don't know if I've ever played it. I'm not sure. Oh, this is actually controls really well. This is actually really cool. I'm surprised how well this plays. I think that smiley face will probably kill me if I remember right. Yeah, this is cool. Now, Atari didn't make it, but it made it for arcades. I think they bought the license to these. That's why they call it the Wider World of Atari, because Atari got the license to all these classics. They've been making this is cool. Atari's been making really wise strategic licensing and purchases over the last several years, and one of them was to purchase the rights to Berserk and a few other games over the years. So yeah, pretty cool. Well, the thing is the way I look at it is, the new CEO of Atari, he's a younger guy, but he knows what he's doing. He gets what made Atari great. So yeah, no, I disagree. Everyone and their mama putting games on the system is exactly what Atari needed to do. They created a marketplace for their games. That was what consoles have done ever since. They created the standard. No, I disagree. That is not a mistake. That was smart. Okay. The Battles of Berserk, an arcade hit to a fantastic home port. Berserk's legacy is filled with station action, at least one disturbing urban legend, huh? Okay. The Battles
The
of
main theme
Berserk.
of Berserk, as I understand it, and as I've always understood it, is basically you're one of the last humans trying to escape this prison inhabited by robots. Because there's this character in the game called Evil Otto, and he bounces at you with this smiley face, but it's so sinister because all he's really trying to do is just pulverize you to like nothing. And he comes at you so aggressively. Even back in the day, the story got around really fast that somebody died playing Berserk.
Rumblings of rumors when it got out, like, oh my gosh, someone died while playing Berserk. They must have, I don't know if the game shot back at them. I don't know what happened.
And I think that added to the mystique of the game, because could this game kill you? But in reality, as far as I understand, it was somebody who actually had a heart condition who happened to be playing Berserk when an episode occurred, but that of course got embellished to this game will kill you.
I remember Berserk coming out for the 2600 and I was very impressed. The characters were very simple, but moved exactly like the arcade. The gameplay was great. I thought it was one of the great Atari cartridges, up there with Space Invaders in that time frame of arcade ports.
One of my favorite games on the 2600 happened to be Berserk. I thought it was really well produced. It didn't look like other Atari games where they flickered a lot. The characters were really solid, everything looked great, and it was a really great representation of the arcade game.
Yeah, the gameplay was well tweaked, which is not given the credibility that it should. The amount of tweaking that gameplay requires to make an excellent game, to make a truly great game, it's unappreciated.
Oh my God,
yeah.
is it?
When I was learning, or basically teaching myself how to program the Atari 2600, as one does, I started to dabble with audio, and I had seen somebody had replicated synthesized voice on the 2600. And so that kind of occurred to me that it would be really cool to take that approach and that concept and apply it to Berserk to have the perfect version of Berserk for the Atari 2600. That set in motion my desire to just like pursue relentlessly putting voice into 2600 Berserk. And then my understanding of the arcade game is there's a specific speech synthesis chip that was used for the game. And to compare that to the 2600, there's no such thing on the 2600. And so in order to get speech to even sound similar to that chip, you have to apply all of Atari 2600's resources to it. So in order to get the sample to play back fast enough, you have to do things like don't display the screen. So the screen goes black so you can get a cleaner and more audible sound out of the processor, the sound processor. Some of the changes that I had applied to the game early on.
This is cool.
Mostly palette related and some graphical changes. Also added a title screen. I always felt that like later Atari 2600 games that had title screens were really cool, so I wanted us to feel like those. But ultimately that was where my work ended. But then the community hopped in after that release, and Dennis DeBro particularly found out by disassembling the game that there was actually code for the robots to shoot diagonally like in the arcade game.
Oh.
I found it fascinating that after I dabbled a little bit with Berserk, to watch other people go in and find all these other things within the source code that I missed completely, and started to apply that to like what would become ultimately Berserk Voice Enhanced.
Death by Berserk. Yeah. Calumet City. Oh man, that's funny. So Frenzy, the sequel to Berserk, delivers new enemies and interesting change of the terrain. Some walls can be destroyed while other walls ricochet shots, meaning the player can actually shoot themselves. Well, no, Calumet City is in Illinois. I just noted that somebody was local to where I live. I mean, it's not close. It's probably like a couple hours away, but still, I just was surprised about that. Okay, so we got Frenzy as well. The promotional fire to Frenzy notes that while Evil Otto is still indestructible, 3 bullets will stun him, giving the players a chance to escape. Okay. Let's see what Frenzy is like. This is cool. Stern Frenzy. Oh my gosh, Evil Otto's already here. Oh wow, okay. Oh, you can bounce things off the walls. Oh, look at that. I gotta say, these games are so advanced for the time. Wow. Oh, I died after that, clearing that level, huh? You know, the thing about this that's so remarkable is how smooth and responsive the controls are. For 1982, that is not a given at all. Like, you can legit dodge things. Aw. Oh, hey, machines. Hey, thanks for joining. Don't worry about being late. There's plenty to go in this collection if we decide to keep going with this. And if you guys are active, I will. All right. Well, that's Frenzy. That's a pretty cool, pretty cool. Okay, so now is this the 2600 version of Berserk? Bringing arcade hits home became a critical element of Atari's VCS success. So arcade hit Berserk program for what? Okay, there we go. Home by Dan Hitchens became one of the console's most visually accurate translations. Cover art. Original artwork. That's cool looking Evil Otto. Okay. Berserk, okay. Playing the angles, neat. Huh. Readers submitted strategies for Berserk, and this page from Atari Age. Art Collins notes that Evil Otto cannot catch players if they run away diagonally. Okay, so voice enhanced. Oh. 2023, somebody updated. Okay, so let's check out Berserk as we played it in 1982. I never got to play this in 1982. I wish I did, because this is really cool. This plays so well for a 2600 game. Wow. This plays so well for a 2600 game. Wow, this plays well. Ah, got me. I can't hit the wall, or did it... Oh, I guess you can't. Hitting the wall kill you. Well, that's interesting. So the walls are deadly. That's good to know. This is a really good 2600 game. Wow. Man, I wish I had this growing up. I would have played this to death. Aw, hit the ceiling. I haven't seen Evil Otto yet. I wonder why. Whoa. Okay, I think that's enough. I think we got a pretty good idea of how the 2600 version works. So they included a bunch of fans improved Berserk with added voice. This is the final revision of Berserk Voice Enhanced. All right, this is neat. Let's check it out. So it's still Berserk, but somebody decided to enhance it for the modern day. But it still plays on original hardware. Oh, for goodness sakes. Voices on a 2600. Isn't that crazy? So an enhanced version of Berserk. Intruder alert, huh? Man, imagine if somebody actually managed to do voice clips like that on 2600 back in the 80s. That would have been crazy. Whoa. Intruder alert. Oh, I had to die. It reminds... Well, it's my last life, maybe? Reminds me of Daleks a little bit. Yeah. Intruder alert. That is so crazy. For a 2600 game, man, this is amazing. I think this must be my last life, I guess. Oh, that's the end of that. Yep, that's the end of it. That's cool. I gotta say, that is pretty cool. All right, they did a great job with that. All right, let's see what's next. Berserk 5200. The first 5200 game to offer speech synthesis. Oh, how neat. So the Atari 5200 version of Berserk. Now, 5200 had some really wacky controls. I wonder how that works. The 5200 was a lot more powerful of a system, though. Okay, let's give this a shot. Yeah, the controls are a little goofy. You aim in the direction you walk instead of... Okay, that's cool. The voices is cool. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I hit the wall naturally. Huh. Well, that's funny. I wonder if I just exposed a bug in the original game. The controls are weird, guys. So weird. I wonder... Okay. Atari Video Cube. A handful of 100 games were only offered as mail-in titles through the Atari Club. The first, Atari Video Cube, began as an unlicensed interpretation in the 1980s. What's the phenomenon of Rubik's Cube? But its mechanics ultimately differed. Makes it a prize among collectors. I can say that I have not seen this one. Huh. I don't recall this game. Huh. It was later reissued with the official Rubik's license. Huh. All right. Okay, so what am I doing? Start. That's loud. Okay. This is weird, guys. Never been very good at Rubik's anything, but... Okay, this is strange, folks. Okay, I'm done. I've never been good at Rubik's Cube anyway, so I have no chance of succeeding. After the NES, when the Nintendo Entertainment System resuscitated the console market in the mid-1980s, Atari offered the 7800, which was a big fail of a system. Not powerful enough. Atari offered the 7800, but continued delivering fresh software to 2600 as well. Whereas players moved on to new hardware, many of these later 2600 have remained underappreciated. Okay. Desert Falcon, huh? Who else who had programmed the VCS version of Defender also handled this 2600 version. That's pretty cool art. All right. Select game variation. What does that mean? No variations. Okay. Oh yeah, I want a color. Yeah. Yeah, I remember Solaris. I don't know any. I did have a copy of that game. I think it was earlier 80s because I don't know where that came from. Or I don't think it's in the collection. We can look at it though. I don't know. Novice, standard. I guess standard. Oh, this game. This is cool looking. Reminds me of these graphics are actually really good for 2600. Got a very interesting art style, or like a viewing isometric view. This is a very interesting game. A little bit awkward, but not bad. Oh, I'm not good at this, I'll tell you that. It's pretty advanced for the system, I will say. I got 2 heroes. Oh, I can get more if I can avoid death. Yeah, I got 3. Well, I think River Raid, that Activision title, is more advanced than this, but this is pretty cool. Very neat, or at the very least, it's more playable. But yeah, this is neat. That's neat. That's neat. That's for sure. That's neat. Okay. Double Dunk. Okay, Double Dunk's 2-on-2 half-court presentation. And Super Football, too, huh? 1989, though. This is so late. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Let's give it a shot. For a 2600 game, that don't look bad. Okay. Usually these games are pretty simple, so... Wow, this is actually pretty advanced. It has good motion and everything like that. It's confusing, though. I have no idea what's actually happening. I've never been one for sports games anyway, but that's kind of cool. It looks good for a 2600 game. All right, let's check out Super Football. This is a 2600 game? Man, that's really advanced. All right, come on. Okay, I don't know what's happening. Okay. Cool, I guess. It reminds me a little bit of play action football, except I have no idea what's happening. I have no idea what is happening. I've always found football games to be so difficult to understand. Anyway, okay. That's why I'm not a sports guy. Off the wall. Classic Brick Breaker gameplay adding human characters and power-ups. Oh, that's interesting. Huh. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Atari games only have one button, so I can't figure out what's not happening. Well, that's an interesting variation on Breakout. I wonder if it's a paddle game. I think it'd probably play better if it was. Paddle games are sorely underrepresented. I mean, like, there's no good way to play them anymore, right? I wish there was a better way to play paddle games. Well, this is cute. The graphics are clearly basic. And I missed. I wonder if this game supports mouse control. It does not. That would be that's unfortunate. Well, okay. Well, yeah, trackball, right? But a mouse would be a paddle, right? Because it's 2600. But I don't see paddle controls here, so Moto Rodeo, split screen 2-player monster truck game. Oh, that's neat. Huh. One of the last cartridges released. All right, let's give it a shot. 1990. This has a start menu screen. That's so crazy. Huh. Okay, this is weird. This is like a stunt game of some kind. Gosh. This, it's definitely got some Excitebike vibes, but the very old hardware really holds this back. Okay, I don't think I can handle this. The sound is just killing me. All right, what's this? From players to creators. For some Atari stalwarts, merely collecting the games they grew up with isn't enough. A curiosity and passionate support of homebrew community has kept Atari's flame burning through some of the company's less active years. All right, let's check this out.
So I started collecting on the 2600 when I was working at Looking Glass in Cambridge, Massachusetts, with Rex Bradford, who had actually worked for Activision and Parker Brothers back in the day. And that inspired me. It's like, I should go pick up a 2600 and then start buying all those games I could never afford as a kid.
So I started looking on eBay to regain my old 2600 library, whatever. And in my searching, I found the Stella List. The Stella List was a collection of programmers that were interested in programming the VCS.
I think everybody who got into homebrew pretty early in the 2600 was a member of the Stella List, and that's where everybody shared their findings on the 2600. And of course, the original developer documentation that was at Atari was scanned and provided through the list. A lot of source code for demos, like audio demos, sprite demos, playfield demos, and all stuff kind of passed through the Stella mailing list.
That was where all the activity was for development for a long time before forums really came along.
Ever I needed help or if I had a problem, the team on the Stella List were there to help me get past my problems.
And it was almost all this technical discussion on how to develop for the Atari 2600, picking apart the machine and learning, the internals, because the 2600 is a very arcane machine and difficult to develop for.
It feels like it took me a year just to understand how to get playfield graphics on the screen.
And there's always new people coming into the hobby wanting to learn how to program. So yeah, it's been amazing to watch, and there's just so much development, hardware and software, on all these platforms on Atari Age.
In my mind, 2600 programming is like as raw as it gets. It kind of shows people all your flaws, and so I'm really nervous about sharing things on the Atari Age forums. I have in the past, and I've received some great feedback. But ultimately, at the end of the day, for me, I feel so inadequate when I post things there because there's so many smart people who are way smarter than me, doing just incredible things. And I always feel like what I'm posting is just like a friend of mine used to say, it feels baby school.
But on the Atari Age forum, they have a 2600 programmer forum that you can go to. Yeah, anyone is willing to just jump in and help you.
There's a number of really talented programmers still doing wonders on the 2600.
That part of the Stellar list lives on the Atari Age forum. Absolutely.
When we started Atari Age, back in 2000, we worked on 2000, opened it in 2001. Atari really wasn't paying attention to the this growing community of people who are basically celebrating the brand.
I don't think there was any time during those years when homebrew really started to take off for the Atari consoles that Atari at that time felt in any way threatened.
I don't think they knew we existed. and I don't think they cared. I just don't think they cared.
I think most of the time they just kind of ignored it.
But Adventure 2, when it started out, was not endorsed by Atari in any way. And when they got wind of it, it came very close to shutting the project down. But they were able to work together. And now it is an IP that is approved by Atari, and now the community they can play it. I mean, it was a great piece of work.
At some point, you realize, well, Atari Age, costs money to run. It's running on like a dedicated server with the forum and the games database. We can, instead of having ads on the website, we can just start publishing games ourselves. So it just went really slowly first, and one of the first games was Mike Micah's Berserk voice enhanced.
And ultimately, it was the information I gathered from shared resources in the homebrew community that led me to adapt Berserk's voice.
And from there, it just kind of blossomed, and a small group of home developers, including Thomas Jentz, allowed me to start publishing their games in the Atari Age store.
Kurt Bendel was working with Atari and did the first flashback.
Huh.
It wasn't exactly what he envisioned, but it was the starting point. And that was his whole plan, as I understand it. It's like, let me get in the door with this, and then I can produce what I wanted. And that was the flashback too. In doing that and contracting with Atari, Kurt reached out to homebrew developers because he wanted to showcase, hey, not only do you have these classics here, but you have people that are still programming for this unit, and he wanted to show that. I was one of the homebrew developers that he reached out to. I'm honored that he reached out to me on that.
I had the fortune of knowing Kurt Vendel years and years ago. I met him at this trade show. Well, it was like a fan show called World of Atari, and it was in '98, I believe. And it was pretty clear he knew a lot about Atari. And not only that, he had a lot of ephemera from the old Atari days. And so we became fast friends. And a lot of the early Digital Eclipse projects that we worked on, Kurt helped us out, and he found the information we needed. He helped us figure out how things worked. He was an incredible hardware guy, incredible software guy, and he was so hell-bent on getting the story right. And so I give a lot of credit to Kurt for paving the way, for giving people the understanding of like where the real heroes were in those old days at Atari.
Neat. Well, that's pretty cool. So this is the homebrew, original homebrew sequel for the Atari 5200. Create 2600 version of Adventure 2 for the Flashback 2 in 2005. The layers remain comfortably familiar. The player's realm expands the neighboring kingdoms, fire and ice. Okay. I never really played much Adventure, but oh, this game. Okay, so this is where you explore. You just kind of. Oh, I just gave away my bat or something. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool, I guess. Oh, a key. That's important. Okay. So this is Adventure 2. Similar to Adventure, except more, I guess. I never played the original Adventure except for on this collection. So I can't really say with any kind of, confidence that if that's good or bad. Yeah, so okay. All right. Well, anyway, cool. Adventure 2. All right. This is a very obtuse game for sure. So, yeah. Okay. Return to Haunted House. While this homebrew entry from Anthony Wong is clearly inspired by a 2600 game from 1982, Pickle is actually a modification of Venture's programming code. That's interesting. Huh. Well, let's give it a shot. Oh, there's different game modes. Small house, large house. Okay. Well, let's just play the game and see what it's like. Oh, and another thing, I've never really played much of Haunted House either. So... Okay. Is that good? I don't know what happened. Huh. Okay. Huh. Interesting. All right. Well, cool, I guess. Oh, okay. Boo. I guess I died. Cool. I never really played it at Haunted House, so I don't know. Okay, searching for prototypes for various business and creative reasons. Some games that were once destined for store shelves simply disappeared instead. When prototypes of unreleased games surface, like Atari Ages, the Albert, Eros mobilized, pursue these often incomplete creative expressions, sometimes giving a second chance to success. Cool. Let's check this out together.
A lot of games were in development at Atari when the market crashed in '94, and a lot of them were done or very close to being done, and not just for the 2600, but also the 5200. A lot of these prototypes are being discovered during this time period, and there were various people who were creating packaging for them that would be reminiscent of, hey, what if Atari published it? What if Fox published this game? What would it look like? And you'd have a line of people at the Classic Gaming Expo on Saturday or Sunday to get their copy of the game, and they would sell out back then. And, they're $50, $60 a piece, but, they look great. They look like this is what real sports basketball we never released, but, there's a really nice community-produced reproduction of it. They come from all over. Sometimes they come from the original developers who were working at Atari, took copies of those with them, thankfully, before they were thrown out. And they were nice enough to they either sell them or loan them out so people can actually dump them and then, preserve them indefinitely. And then Atari sent out a lot of lab loaner carts, basically like... cartridges of games that were going to be released, like sending them to magazines in advance, especially magazines back then had a really long lead time of months. So you'd want to get those games to the magazines so they could test them and then have an article ready, by the time the game comes out. So that's where a lot of the cartridges come from. They had a unique lab loaner label, returned to somebody at Atari with a name handwritten on the label. I'm sure you've seen them. Even now, there's still prototypes being unearthed, which is just remarkable that so long, after all this time has passed, we're still finding new games that either we never knew about or knew about and just didn't think existed. But, people are finding them still.
Wow. That's neat. Oh, a loaner cartridge. Oh, wow. Neat. Aquaventure. Prototype has been traced back to 1983. Huh. Well, let's see what this prototype is all about. Okay. Oh, wait. What am I... Oh. Huh. I get to shoot fish! It's like Darius, except... person. And there's a turtle, and I don't know why there's a turtle. This is cute. This isn't that bad. Huh. This is rather silly. Cute. Oh, okay, so it's a female explorer. Okay, cool. Save Mary. The puzzle genre is underrepresented on the 20th system, but Save Mary, underdeveloped by Tox Fry and for Axlon in 1989. Huh. All right, let's check this out. Save Mary. I don't know what I'm trying to do here. Oh. I don't know what I'm trying to do. Oh. I have no idea what's going on. Huh. Weird. Huh. Cool. For the love of Atari, I think this is actually the end. So this is the final piece. For the love of Atari, what makes Atari fans so passionate? Who have helped preserve and extend Atari's legacy, discuss the love that lies beyond mere nostalgia.
When you think of the 80s and video games, Atari is the company that comes to mind. And because those people grew up with, there's a lot of nostalgia today still for the brand. And I think that's the main reason why you see people so passionate about Atari.
When we do our best, video games are an art form. What we're doing doesn't just distract people or pass the time. We leave them with something.
The brand was so iconic for so long that it feels like it was a part of their life, and that it felt like a part of their identity. So I think whenever Atari over the years has done something against those core values of what people have brought to Atari and how they feel they fit with Atari, that's why you'd see a lot of vocal retaliation to what Atari was doing, because it was so personal to them.
And Atari did a great job with marketing. They had a lot of the arcade hits, like Pac-Man and Defender, and just tons of arcade games that people wanted to play at home. And they just did a great job with marketing, getting the systems out there, and that's what people remember from those early days.
For me, it is the excitement that I had as a young teenager having the VCS. That excitement is still there for me. And you've heard this before, you never forget your first love. That would be the VCS for me.
I think video games are proving to be more and more like the music business. Whatever you heard at certain points in your life of music, that's the soundtrack for your life. And when you hear those songs, when you were a kid or when you were a teen or when you were in college, it brings back those memories, and you're attached to that time and to that version of yourself, and the music takes you back there.
I think for a lot of people, it was the very first system that they had, especially for the 2600. And even then, the Pong systems that came before that, and Atari was active in arcades as well. I think the combination of the home consoles, arcades, and then computers, that kind of trifecta really kept Atari in everyone's minds, versus the other companies only had like a console, home console, and didn't do the other things.
I took my 8-bit 800 XL with me to college, and that's what I wrote my reports on. Now, granted, everybody in the dorm down the hall heard it pecking on the 1027, but hey, I did my reports on it.
There were people who dedicated their lives to just making sure that an Atari 800 could stay working, and they would sell parts as cheap as they could to people to keep their machines working. And so for, I'd say, like 3 decades, basically, you've had all these kind of like unknown people working behind the scenes just to keep Atari alive.
Millions of people grew up with these consoles. They enjoyed them. You know, their first interaction with video games for a lot of people, and computers. And, you know, and Atari made a ton of great arcade games as well that are very memorable. So again, I think all of that just helped to keep the brand alive, even when Atari wasn't very active.
Ultimately, I think Atari, the name, was what survived, but not Atari, the game company. It was a different game company. It was really just Atari by name. And so we were left with a huge community of people who grew up with the Atari. It was a very personal thing for them that felt like they were being abandoned by the namesake in some ways. And so they were the ones who were the torchbearers. These are people who kept Atari alive.
I was in Europe, in Germany, and I was waiting for some friends, and all of a sudden this person comes walking by in a bright green, Kelly green shirt with a white Atari across it. And then later on, I was at the Gap store at Christmas time, and I saw a multicolored Atari T-shirt for children, and I said, well, I kind of chuckled to myself, and I said, Jesus, Atari is just not going to go away. And then, of course, I had to buy the shirt for my great nephew. So,
cool. Well, I think that's the end of it, guys. That is the Wider World of Atari DLC. I would say that this is worth getting. If you already own the Atari 50th anniversary celebration, you owe it to yourself to get this DLC. It's really good, as you guys just saw. Yeah, there's new games, which is cool. But that's not even the... I mean, sure, you could say that Berserk is worth it, just for those. I think it's $8. The game itself, you know, the main Atari 50th collection or celebration, I think is $39. If you didn't buy it already, buy the digital expanded edition that includes the DLC. And there's also a DLC bundle available for $13.99 that includes DLC 1 and DLC 2. DLC 2 will be coming out in November, I think. But yeah, it's totally worth the money. It's a no-brainer, guys. If you're gonna I don't know if Solaris is in here. I don't think so. Let me see. You can sort by hold on. Sort by platform, so by title. Here, we'll go to S. But yeah, this is a really cool let's see. Oh, Solaris right there. There you go. This collection has Solaris in it, Coffee. Now that's the base game. But yeah, so I'm just saying that this collection is excellent, and as you can see, it's more than just... Oh, you want me to play Solaris? Okay, well, this is part of the original, but I just wanted to point out that this is more than just a collection of games. It's a documentary that's playable. I know it seems like, oh, I could buy 100 Atari games for cheap. Well, you probably can. But this is more than just that. And it's also meticulous. Well done. So, yeah, okay. Yeah, it's been a long time since I played this. Oh, yeah, this is great. Yeah. There we go. Wow. Oh, I forgot about... This is weird. Yeah, okay. I never understood this game. It's weird. It plays strangely. Oh, there's a bad guy on the screen, so I gotta find him. Okay. Yeah, this isn't bad for a 2600 game. I get you. I get you, Poppy. I get why you like it. But yeah, this is clearly included in the original already. Anyway, okay, cool. Yeah, this is neat. But yeah, this collection has tons of good games of all different generations. So, well, yeah, this is what's included in Pack 1. So we've got okay, so that's base games from the original. So yeah, this is Video Game Cube, Avalanche, Berserk. I'd say the Berserk games are worth it. Even if you don't like the other ones, the Berserk ones are good. They're fun. I'd say these are worth playing. These are fun. And then Desert Falcon, which is neat. Destroyer was fun too. I really like this one. This was simple and fun. Football Frenzy is great. Of course, it's a Berserk sequel. Off the Wall, Red Baron, that was good too. I like that one. Skydiver's okay. Steeplechase is cute. Stellar Track is Bam Bam's first game, so that's cool. Submarine Commander and Superbug, which is cute. This one's cute too. So yeah, pretty cool. Recently played, sort by year, sort by platforms. You can see all the different platforms that they have games for in this, including Jaguar and all that kind of stuff. A lot of these are from the original, but they're not new. But yeah, this is a really great collection. And these reimagined games are really neat. So, yeah. And there's a few I still have to unlock, I think. There's a little bit of effort you got to go through to unlock a couple of them. But yeah, I see there's this. I have to unlock this one and a couple others. Anyway, so all that to say, oh, Star Tropics is NES game. Anyway, so yeah, all that to say, I think this Atari 50th celebration is wonderful. I think everybody should play it, and I think this DLC is absolutely worth the money. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know I did. This is a really cool. I love the Atari 50th celebration. I think it's wonderful, and this DLC is absolutely worth the money. I hope you guys enjoyed. Take care. God bless, and have a great night.